right before the break, Travis Vallejo, said, what free agent next year that would usually not even consider coming to the small market Utah do you think would really consider playing for the Jazz now, talking about their bright future, their situation they have at their front office? The Jazz seem to be trending up as far as the opinion around the league of who the Utah Jazz are. Mm-hmm. And I thought, what's the best way to do this? Let's just go and look at the top. Let's look at every free agent that's available next year, starting with the top of the rankings,
okay,
and work our way down until we get to a point where we think a guy would actually probably consider the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Number 1, Kevin Durant.
Nope.
And I'm actually going to disagree with this. LeBron, I still think, is probably the top free agent. Maybe Kevin Durant is. He's younger. But he's only signing a 1-year deal anyways.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, number 1. Nope. LeBron, 2. Nope. Paul George, really probably nope.
Yeah.
Almost positively no. Chris Paul.
Especially because he forced his way out to kind of join a situation and then turned out to like Oklahoma City, but it seems like it's going to be between either LA or OKC, and there's just not a lot of possibility to go to anywhere else.
Chris Paul. Nope. He wants to win a championship. The Jazz aren't that close. DeMarcus Cousins. Okay, DeMarcus Cousins actually probably is going to go whoever to the highest bidder is right now because he just tore his Achilles and it's the worst injury in the NBA.
Right, and who gives him a max? And you could see him signing with like the Dallas Mavericks if they give him a max, right? Like it's just kind of who's going to be giving him that 30% max that he thinks he deserves, and honestly, rightfully so. But in terms of a fit next to Rudy Gobert, it just doesn't make any sense, and so, yeah, no.
Looking at the DeMarcus Cousins agent, Dan Fagan. Rest in peace, Dan Fagan. Killed in a car accident last week, so that was too bad. Number 6, DeAndre Jordan.
No, doesn't fit next to Rudy.
Doesn't fit, but is the caliber, the type of player I think you would start getting into a conversation that the Jazz would look at a guy like DeAndre Jordan and would consider, if they had max money, would consider a guy like DeAndre Jordan, and you might be able to get some mutual interest there.
Yeah, okay.
Clint Capella, exact same thing as DeAndre Jordan. Number 8, Aaron Gordon. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, Aaron Gordon's a guy you could get. It's just kind of whether you think he's good enough and it makes sense as your for the future. I honestly think that the Magic are not super in love with what Aaron Gordon brings.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that last night. He certainly has limitations. He was 4 of 18, one of his worst games of the season. But even when he does have his great games there, I don't see a whole lot special. So I guess the question is, are the Jazz willing to do what it takes to open up that amount of salary cap space that you could offer Aaron Gordon such that the Magic wouldn't immediately match?
Right. Even if the Magic don't love him, they've put themselves in a situation much like the Jazz and Rodney Hood where you have to match him. Now, that's why the Jazz got rid of Rodney Hood, because they would have had to match him. Now, I think the Magic or the Jazz would have had to match Rodney Hood is what I'm trying to say. Yes, the Jazz would have had to match Rodney Hood. The Magic probably have to match Aaron Gordon because you can't lose a number 4 overall pick for nothing.
Yeah,
in free agency.
And he's just a lot younger and honestly better, right, than Rodney Hood is. But it's a kind of a similar thing where, in my mind, the Jazz would have to do so much to open up that max space to then give an offer sheet that the Magic might match anyway. It just doesn't seem like a match from a restricted free agency point of view.
Aaron Gordon, though, averaging 18 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 44% from the floor, which is actually not great for a big man, but 34% from the 3, which is reliable on a guy who's taking 6 threes a game.
Yeah, you don't hate what he brings, and again, kind of from a timeline point of view, it would make a lot of sense. It's just, do you like Aaron Gordon enough to give him that money rather than give it to the guys you already have, and kind of risk it all, if you will?
Next guy on the list, someone we've talked about a lot, Jabari Parker. Probably the exact same conversation as Aaron Gordon.
I would say that in my mind, I think the Bucks are more likely to match on Jabari than the Magic are on Aaron Gordon because Jabari is a better player.
Who would you rather have? $20 million each.
I would rather have. I would still probably rather have Jabari,
even with the injury concerns.
Yeah, and maybe because of the injury concerns, because we haven't seen as much of Jabari compared to Aaron Gordon, but. It kind of gives you a wider array of outcomes, if you will.
Aaron Gordon and Jabari Parker, though, who HoopsHype.com has ranked as the 8th and 9th best free agents in this upcoming class of 2018, or this summer of 2018, I should say, I think are both guys who would very strongly consider signing with the Jazz if the Jazz could get them the type of money they want. Because he's only made $23 million for his career. Yep. Only. But still, that's not a lot for a guy who's average 30 points a game.
And there just aren't going to be that many point guard fits. Like, because point guard is such a rich position in this league, there aren't going to be that many teams that want Isaiah Thomas, especially, honestly, just he's been really bad this year.
He really was thinking he was about to sign a 4-year, $100 million contract, and rightfully so, looked like that last year. And now he's going to be signing a 1-year, $15 million deal with somebody?
Right. And kind of hope to rehabilitate his value after this year, which is sad, but, honestly, that's what hip injuries do to guys, is they make them 90% as quick as they were, and it kills quick guys like that.
Zach LaVine comes in at number 11. He's not going to leave Chicago. They're going to do whatever they have to match him. Julius Randle, you could probably get away from the Lakers if you wanted to pay him too much money.
And I don't want to.
Yeah, he's interesting, but he's not the answer for the Jazz. Nikola Mirotic, Jazz fans have fallen out of love with him.
And he now does have his contract picked up for next year, so he's not even really a free agent. He did have the option, no longer does.
Interesting name here, and actually you were talking about Jazz needing scoring off the bench.
Yeah.
And we said you don't want Lou Williams. Maybe you do want Tyreek Evans.
I don't hate the Tyreek idea that much. I mean, it's kind of a question of, do you think his three-point shooting this year is real?
But he's over 40% this year.
Yeah, it was the best shooting year of his career, and I'm saying was because has he played since the All-Star? I guess he has played in a few games. 1 game since the All-Star break. I guess the concern with Tyreek is, A, he hasn't ever been a good player on a good team. Which I think is a real concern. And does the shooting keep up in a team context, right? So if he's shooting 40% from 3 this year, and as a career shooter, he was 30% before now, which are you going to get? And can he make the right decision on offense? And honestly, that's the kind of decision that I think you just have to watch a ton of video of a guy to see if he's really kind of turned the page at age 28. I think maybe it's a little bit too old for me to risk a lot of money on it, but if you can get him at a bargain deal, sure.
And you hope he's Zach Randolph, and not because they play the same position. They don't at all. But Zach Randolph was able to put up big numbers on weird Portland teams, horrible for the Knicks when he was there, to the point where I think they paid him a bunch of money to go away. Didn't do anything with the Clippers, and then signed with Memphis, or was traded to Memphis, and had a really good year, kind of kept up his numbers, but turned into the Zach Randolph that has made himself a very respectable NBA player and having a respectable career, where if you remember at one point, it felt like he was going to get laughed out of the NBA.
Right.
Yeah, I hope Tyreek Evans has that second half of his career where you say, oh, that guy got it. That guy gets it. And well, it was talented. There was never a question he was talented, but he finally got it.
The guy I'm thinking of, too, is Rudy Gay, who signed with the Spurs last year and kind of was in a similar boat where obviously had the production but never really put it together on a good team, and then really did help the Spurs until then he got hurt again. And so he has been able to play for the last 5 games, has helped them out a little bit, but is only playing 15 minutes a night as he gets better. Again, he's got an Achilles rather than Tyreek's. What is Tyreek out with? He's out because they're
trying to lose games. Yeah, got hit by a tank.
Really unfortunate. Tyreek, I think, is a better bet for the Jazz than even Rudy Gay was for the Spurs.
Derek Favors comes in at number 15 on this list. Carmelo Anthony at 16. Carmelo might consider the Jazz. I don't think so. I think he probably wants to go play with a superstar. I don't think he wants to do what Joe Johnson did the last couple of years.
Yeah, and
I don't think he's quite at that point in his career.
I agree, and I think Melo is probably not just like the cultural non-fit that Carmelo's not. Carmelo's not ready to kind of put himself down to that role like Joe Johnson was 2 years ago. You mentioned Fave. I just go quick note on him. I still think that he's going to be taking the most money available out there on the market, which might be the Jazz, given that they do have the bird rights. But that'll be interesting to see what happens.
Ennis Cantor, no interest from the Jazz. Avery Bradley, absolutely be interested in Avery Bradley.
Yeah, again, it's kind of a can he shoot? It hasn't shot well at all this year, and actually really, really badly this year. But as in terms of like a defensive fit, in terms of like a decision-making fit, I think it would make a lot of sense. You get the sense that the Clippers will probably keep him because they gave up Blake Griffin in order to acquire that contract at the very least. But he has shot 11% from 3 since joining the Clippers.
some other names out there. And again, I know we've kind of gone. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about the last few names on this list. We got to take a break. We got one more segment. We'll talk about a few more names on this list that I think would be interesting for the Jazz in this offseason that would probably fit what the Jazz are trying to do. He's Andy Larsen. I'm Ben Anderson. This is the Salt City Hoop Show. Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700.